As this is my last meeting after completing 2 terms for the past 4 years, I offer the following reflections on my terms from 2022 to 2026. I've seen things that I can't unsee in this role. While the images here may not surprise you, the diversity of race and gender and viewpoints of the people that sat around these tables would. Faculty who can and should enter these spaces, build relationships, and nudge for change. This takes time, consistent restraint in what we say, discretion in what, if anything, we repeat, and strategic public signaling that we're a willing partner who can be trusted. It took me 6 months to be invited to a table like this, and over the next 3.5 years, the social capital gained paid dividends for faculty through influence on policy. If the last 4 years were captured in action films, it might look something like this. This has been a very active time for higher ed. One I would describe as interventionist, be that from the feds, the state legislature, the board of governors, and or the public. Preserving a sense of humor during difficult times has been essential, and all of the images in this presentation are just that, aimed at humor, not accuracy. Sometimes a little snark goes a long way in difficult times. But perhaps James Bond isn't your thing, so we could use almost any movie reference. From 2022 to 2026, events just kept coming on a full range of issues. Most all were mission critical, on short notice, and out of the blue. UNC Faculty Assembly had a huge advantage over our colleagues in comparable states because our system and board had trusted relationships. This meant that our chair, executive committee, campus senate and council chairs, and or the full faculty assembly had advanced knowledge and the opportunity to advise before many decisions were final. The sensitivity of the issue determined how inclusive we could be, but in some cases, early disclosure would have limited the ability to resolve issues within the UNC system. 2 examples we might compare are the Commission for Public Higher Education, CPHE, the new accreditor founded with 6 state systems, and the syllabus regulation. The entire Faculty Assembly Executive Committee had pre-public details on CPHE in order to provide feedback and help shape it. We used this opportunity to raise issues around academic freedom, the assurance of quality, concerns around intellectual diversity, and much more. When CPHE went public, we connected with faculty leaders in the other 6 state systems to coordinate engagement with CPHE. None of them had been given any advanced word or opportunity to provide input from their systems. Since then, we have continued to have productive and public conversations with CPHE. The syllabus regulation was done very quickly and very quietly in order to lead on an issue that had significant external interest. 3 members of the Faculty Assembly Executive Committee were involved in advising during this process, and a comparison of our UNC syllabus regulation to the legislation in states like Texas or Florida will show just how much faculty engagement mattered in terms of a better policy outcome. Again, our inclusion in both initiatives resulted because of the trusted relationships and multiple years of being good stewards of information. This had to be earned and it had to be maintained. The future of higher ed sometimes feels bleak. Some have described higher ed as under attack or on the defensive during the last 4 years. Certainly, we've had multiple headwinds demographically and connected to a decline in public trust. There were plenty of days where I and others felt like it was time to throw in the towel, to rage against the machine, and to disengage. However, while it may appear I was alone on stage, I was always guided by various members of the 4 executive committees I served with. Everyone here served at least 1 year. We had all of the conversations you would expect, and some that may surprise you. Many of those pictured served 2, 3, and some even 4 years with me. At various times, they guided me through every project, helped prepare talking points for the media interviews I did, advised me how to navigate the system, the board, or campus administrations, and helped me finalize my public remarks to our Board of Governors, which was especially important at pulling out those great jokes or true comments that were just too snarky for prime time. Every one of those pictured contributed in their own way and degree, and all faculty in the UNC system benefited from their abilities and our internal tensions. If you see someone you know, please thank them for their service. This captures much of what happened, not everything. The key is understanding that the influence we had on the more recent issues shown at the top of this pyramid is a direct result of the foundational work we did on the faculty policies and other things at the bottom. Nowhere is this more clear than the syllabi regulation and the unprecedented last-minute changes our Board of Governors agreed to regarding the academic freedom policy. A simple comparison of the final version to the drafts will show this. Through our engagement, faculty had influence on all of these topics and more. We have had more access to system office staff, information, and opportunities to shape conversations than in prior years. The issues listed involved hundreds of faculty in and outside the assembly working on teams often led by those folks shown in the previous slide. As individual members of FAEC, the executive committee, led projects often without any public recognition. Like all UNC faculty and all faculty nationally, we do a lot of good work without recognition for it. Again, if you know someone on that prior slide, they've done good things for all of us, some of which they can't talk about. When I came to the assembly as a delegate, and during my time as a member of the executive committee before being chair, the body spent most of our time talking to ourselves. System was not coming to us for advice, nor were we engaging them on the topics that they were working on. We spent a lot of time what I call statementing, that is, writing, revising, and arguing over resolutions on public events, like the war in Ukraine, but there were many other social issues that we spent a lot of time on. Most of those, in fact all of them, the UNC system had little and usually no control over. When I ran for chair, I said my goal was to get us a seat at the decision-making table, to keep that seat, and to build relationships to influence policy. As contrary to faculty nature, having the evidence and arguments are not enough if you don't also have the relationships to get things done. Doing this means engaging strategically on every issue. Come hell or high water, the chair needs to stay at the table, and the assembly needed to stay engaged with system office even when we personally, or even as a group, wanted to resist. Faculty assembly and the chair are positioned to play the inside role with system and the Board of Governors in a way no one else can be. Engagement and relationship building has paid off. The influence we had to get better results and last-minute changes to the syllabi regulation and academic freedom are good examples. Specifically, removing the undefined ideological advocacy restriction on academic freedom, or maintaining existing syllabus policies which require listing materials that students have to purchase, rather than expanding into new territory by requiring faculty to include all required or recommended readings, as some outside groups want and some states enacted legislatively. We worked hard to turn all the lemons into lemonade, but we got some important wins along the way. Some faculty advocate for a different approach. This has appeal from an outside perspective, but it is often disastrous to our reputation as faculty when seen by those working on the inside. This is not a rejection of resistance as a strategy or anyone's right to do it, but a call to consider who resists, when you resist, and how you express that resistance. A challenge is that the insiders have information and are often in negotiations that are sensitive and they can't share, while the outside resistance acts on incomplete, outdated, or incorrect knowledge and can disrupt very sensitive negotiations. We have lost ground during negotiations because of unhelpful actions of outside faculty groups motivated by resistance. Sometimes drawing public attention attracts more than just our friends. All of us can choose to be outsiders, but some of us have the positionality to be insiders. However, the path of the outsider usually precludes acceptance as an insider. Faculty need both strategies employed by people in both positions in coordination to draw attention and pressure at the right time and place to give the insiders leverage for a better deal. This is a challenge as there is natural mistrust from each role towards the other, especially towards the insider, in my experience. But I honestly believe that being the outsider is more fun. This is in part why it's so overrepresented amongst faculty. The insider role, by contrast, is hard. It requires more restraint. You can't say things even when you believe them to be true often. And it takes a lot more heat and blame from all sides. This, in part, is why the faculty insider role is so underrepresented. Yet we need more faculty insiders both at the campus and the system level if faculty are to make a difference in governance. As faculty assembly chair, I played the insider role and have no regrets about that. As evidence of its effect, one system staff member told me recently, quote, "See what the faculty assembly leadership thinks," end quote, is not something we ever heard years ago, but now it's a common request of us at System Office. I'm very proud to hear that. Like most things in life, perception matters. How faculty will view 2022 to 2026 is, in many ways, a choice. Did we succeed or fail? Well, that depends on what metric is and what your perception on the counterfactuals of what would have happened otherwise would be. I believe we made the best lemonade out of the lemons we were given and got some real important wins along the way. I'm proud of the faculty assembly, the campus council and senate chairs, and the members of the 4 faculty assembly executive committees I had the honor to work with. We used our time and opportunities well and to great effect. Feel free to choose a different perspective, of course, but I offer my last advice to the assembly as follows. Support your chair playing the inside role, as they have the best position to do it. Be a reliable group of problem solvers for System Office. Communicate the realities to our faculty because they can't see them, but you often can see them in the assembly, and then you can't unsee them once you do. Serving in this role has been the greatest honor of my career, and I thank all of you for your support and advice along the way. Now, I do have one last duty to perform. That being, in May, I will give my last remarks to the UNC Board of Governors. Any ideas or suggestions you have are welcome. And look for a post-Board of Governors email from me in late May, which will include not only my remarks, but everything we learned from those meetings. Well, before I sail into the West with the elves, let me tell you a bit about your next chair. I didn't know Toby King until he joined the executive committee my first year as chair. Toby has spent 4 years on the Faculty Assembly Executive Committee. He has had the opportunity to see and engage in everything that has occurred. During his first year, he led the Faculty Retirement Incentive Plan Work Group, what we call FRIP. That group consisted of faculty and system office staff and a sitting provost. That work helped shape the implementation of FRIP, which has been a benefit to many of our colleagues and campuses. After his first year, Toby was elected vice chair of the Faculty Assembly, where he spent 2 years working directly with all of the campus senate and council chairs. In addition, because of the value of our work and his position as vice chair, where he would step in should I get hit by a bus, System Office and the Board of Governors supported his attendance at all BOG meetings. This means he has had 3 years to get to know them and for them to get to know him. Also, when President Hans expressed interest in making the case for the liberal arts, Toby led a multi-institution faculty work group that developed a report on the liberal arts as career readiness. This work remains a priority at System as it is for us. Bottom line, Toby King has more experience, connections, and relationships than any new faculty assembly chair has had. He will serve you well. Meanwhile, I look forward to watching Toby and the faculty assembly in future. All right, it's time for me to start my new role as Bilbo in Lord of the Rings, where I stay behind and offer advice when asked and wait to sail away to the west with the elves. Thank you and goodbye.